All right. We're live here at NJ Base Academy. And give me 1 second just to set up the stream. All right. How's everyone doing? If you're a subscriber, welcome back. I do appreciate you very much. I had a little problem with the internet, and it just came back on a couple seconds ago. So hopefully I got everything up and running. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And stick around because we got a lot of news. Mike Nesmith's passing of the Monkees is going to be in the news. So stick around for that. And while I was waiting for the internet, I set up a little loop, and I'll give a little bit of a performance and a bass lesson. So stick around for that. Don't go anywhere. But before you do, make sure that you hit that like button so that YouTube knows that somebody likes it, and then they'll put it out and promote it. If nobody likes it, then, well, I guess they won't. So let's see what's going on over here. And we're going to go to here and then back to here over to screen 2. And hopefully, yes, and we have it. Okay. Of course, this is Rolling Stone magazine. I'm not affiliated with Rolling Stone in any way other than I have a subscription. So I'm not getting any money, and there's no link in the description, but you can go to Rolling Stone magazine, yeah, if you want if you want a subscription. Okay, here we go. So let's get right on with the news. Mickey Dolenz remembers Michael Nesmith. Okay, so Mike Nesmith's passing. I used to love the Monkees when I was a kid. I used to wait for that show to come on. And of course, I was into the Beatles and all of the other British Invasion, the Hermits. And I remember when my father would sit there and I was a young guy and I'd play the beginning to Last Train to Clarksville or something by like Mrs. Brown, You've Got a Lovely Daughter. My father would just smile and smile and smile. So yeah, so great memories of the Monkees. Okay, so he says you could never have talked him out of the farewell tour, says Dolenz, of his 55-year Monkee bandmate. He was absolutely determined to finish that tour. Yeah, so I guess he wasn't really feeling too great. On November 14th, Mickey Dolenz and Michael Nesmith stood on stage together at LA's Greek Theater and took their final bow as the Monkees. It was end of a farewell tour that had taken them all across North America. And although it was impossible for fans to ignore Nes' frailty throughout the long tour, especially during the early shows when he sat on a stool for much of the seat, it was still an enormous shock when the news came that Nesmith had died from heart failure. I found out a couple of days ago he was going into hospice, Dolenz told Rolling Stone. A couple hours after the news hit, I knew what that meant. I had my moment then, and I let go. I let go a couple days ago. It's just good to know that he passed peacefully. We were on stage just a few weeks ago, he commented. I'm so glad that we did that tour. He was looking forward to that. And such a trooper through the whole thing. A tour is tough if you're in the best of health. He just really loved it. He really loved doing it. Dolenz is still processing the sudden death of his friend and bandmate, but he took the time to tell us about his long history with Nez in and out of the Monkees. I'm not sure I can recall when the first time I met Nez, since it was long ago, but it probably would have been the audition. It probably would have been the auditions for the Monkees in 1965. What I can remember is talking to him at the wardrobe fitting for the pilot. We were standing in the middle of the street at Columbia Studios, and we were introduced to each other. You guys are the Monkees. Mike, this is Peter. Peter, this is Davey. Mike and I lived nearby and started hanging out when we began filming the show. He lived in the Hollywood Hills with his wife and son. He had a little drum set up near his guitar amps. By that point, I was told that I was the drummer. He sat me down at the kit and taught me my first drum lick. Then when the show sold, we absolutely started hanging out together a lot more. We would sit around the proverbial campfire and sing songs. It would be mainly his songs since he was the only one writing then. I didn't know much about songwriting professionally, but I was impressed with his songs. I loved singing along with him, and because of our mutual background, since my mom was brought up in Texas, we really fell into what I call the Everly Monkee sound. It was natural. It didn't take long for him to grow frustrated with our lack of control over the music. I wasn't swimming in that same pond, so it was after the fact that I heard he became very frustrated and went into the producers to complain. We hardly knew each other at that time. We all had separate lives. I had no idea when I first would have heard rumblings of it, but it didn't come to a head for a long time later. From what I understand, he would go into the producers early on and voice his discontent. It wasn't with me. It was totally between him and the producers. I think he was promised a lot of things that didn't come to pass regarding his music. Obviously, he got pretty frustrated, as anybody would. I'm not sure what I remember from our famous meeting with Don Kirshner at the Beverly Hills Hotel, where Nez punched through a wall in frustration. I've heard all the versions. I vaguely remember it. I know we were all given a big check to obviously just shut up. It was a big royalty check, and that's what spawned Nez and his little outburst at the time. I probably just thought it was funny. After a while, it became very apparent that he was very, very frustrated. I backed him up because he was my partner. Peter was also frustrated. He wasn't getting to sing and play and write stuff as much as he would have liked. David probably wasn't concerned, but even though I wasn't a songwriter, I would have commerced and I would have supported him. He was driving the train when it came to getting us the right to write our own stuff. Before headquarters, we weren't even writing. We had only just met and had never played together, of course. I had never played drums ever. I had to ramp up to that. It was obviously, though, Nez spearheading the whole thing that we gained that power. It never would have happened without him. Yeah, so Mike Nesmith, man, we all knew that he was the guy behind the Monkees for sure. It also came out of us going on the road for months and actually learning to play together as a band. And it was definitely Nesmith's band. He was the band leader the whole time. Life got insane around that time. We were just bouncing off the walls, doing shows, having parties, doing concerts, recording in the studio. But Nez always did tend to be a bit of a loner guy. He would have parties at his house, but quite seldom. He wasn't a big social bumblebee. He was quiet and extremely bright and very witty. When it comes to country rock, he was a visionary. He was doing Big and Rich decades before Big and Rich. He was the first of the country rockers. He was doing ZZ Top before ZZ Top. I didn't know the difference between all of these genres at the time. I was mainly in the television industry, not the music industry. I've since learned all about it. I kept up with him in the years following the dissolving of the Monkees, I'll just say. I met up with him and seen him in action. He'd come to England and see me, and he brought into a musical that I made and directed. He also engaged my production company to deliver little comedy bits for his NBC show, television parts. When he declined to do the 1986 Monkees reunion tour, it didn't surprise me. Frankly, I knew him, and I had been to LA, and I had seen the operations that he had with Pacific Arts. It was a major production company. He was the company. He had all of these people working for him, and they had productions and videotape distributions. It was a big, big deal. I didn't even remember if he had the conversation about him returning to the group, but I knew immediately there was no way we could do it. It was tough for me to drop what I was doing. I was in pre-production on a show. I just finished the whole series, and I was going to just take a few weeks off for a little summer tour. I had to juggle a bunch of balls even to do that. I had quite a mechanism going in London. I can only imagine what he had going on. I was just a freelance writer-producer. He was responsible for hundreds of people. He did come out at the Greek Theater for one show, and he was very supportive throughout the tour and wished us the best. When he came back to the Monkees in 2012, he was very committed to the group. You live and learn, and you change. You'd have to ask him why he wanted to come back, but he talked about it a little on this last tour. He maybe had a new appreciation, a fresh appreciation for the whole thing. He told me many times that doing the television show was quite bewildering, as it would be to anybody, to walk in cold to that kind of environment. But over the years, he absolutely grew to appreciate the Monkees. He was also very, very successful in many ways after the show. And Nez does what he wants to do. A tour beats anyone up. I don't care who you are, at what age. Of course, I was concerned about him, but he had recovered from the quadruple bypass. He'd been sitting around during the pandemic, like we all had, getting fat and lazy. When we rehearsed the whole thing, was going to be about taking it easy, not booking too many shows. We could have easily booked twice as many shows as we did, easily. Every night we locked voices, and singing together felt the same way it felt for nearly 60 years when we sang together. There was some mix, something going on that you can't really define. The whole became greater than the sum of its parts. I could sing my part on the song with someone else, and so could he. But when we started singing together, there's just something that goes on. That was at the case for 60 years. We just clicked. You can't break the components of that down. It just doesn't work. Something happened when we sang together, and it always did with us. That was also the case in the comedy, in the shtick we used to do. We just clicked. You can't invent that or force it. It just happens or it doesn't. The last show of the tour is pretty much a blur to me. I tried to stop thinking about it because I knew if I didn't, I'd never get through any of these songs. And I still had my moments. I had a couple of moments where I had to turn around and get a hold of myself. I especially did not try and think about it because I probably wouldn't have made it through the show. Our last conversations probably took place that night, but I don't recall it specifically. We did hug that night on stage, and the whole tour was very emotional for me. I knew it was pretty unlikely that, for whatever reason, we'd ever be doing this again. That was both of our attitudes for us. We went out with a flair. Despite his condition, you could never have talked him out of the tour. We had every opportunity to stop the tour. You don't need any excuses these days. We had the option all the time to cancel dates, and we did cancel a couple for various reasons. We could have canceled more, but it was obviously determined to finish that tour. But he was obviously determined to finish the tour. He's a trooper, huh? It's not my place to talk about how the exact state of his health towards the end of his life, but it's public knowledge that just a couple of years ago he had a quadruple bypass. It's also no secret he was a Christian Scientist. All right. So that's it. Mike Nesmith passes away, and I'm going to exit this page, and hopefully my stream is still happening. All right, let's go over here and just check the stream because, yeah, 'cause I'm not seeing it. Let's see. Okay, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffeting. All right. Well, I hope you're not experiencing too much buffeting, and I am going to try to close this out, and hopefully we won't get too much static. All right, so that's it. That's it for the music news. What's happening at NJ Bass Academy? Well, we're always here trying to create better musicians. Check out some of my YouTube short videos. There's a lot of, not a lot yet, but there will be. And there's a bunch of stuff for beginner bass players and intermediate bass players. So I hope you enjoy my free lessons on the shorts. If not, if you haven't seen my shorts, go to my page and scroll down all the way to the very, very bottom, and that's where it has the shorts. So I'm just going like this because the stream is, yes, it's definitely way behind here. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed the music news. And like I said, go over there and support me at Patreon. You can sign up there for $8 a month and have access to all video lessons of scales, arpeggios, reading exercises, and different things to help you become a better bass player. Just $8 a month. So you can't really beat that. All right, like I said, I have a little stream. I have a little loop that I did. As you can see, my keyboard's on. But as not to waste time with my lousy keyboard skills, I did a loop here before I came on because I had no internet, so I figured I might as well set it up. So I'm going to grab my trusty Speed here. Steed. Boy, I can't talk tonight, I'll tell you. Yeah, when I saw that the internet wasn't on, I was like, oh, come on, really? Like, are you kidding me? You're really kidding me, right? All right, let's get to this loop. All right, here we go. I hope you enjoy this. All right. What's going on? I'm not here in the looper. Why am I not here in the looper? I'm hearing this. All right, I guess my pedal board is... Little malfunction there. Let me lay a little melody down here. Here we go. There you go. All right, NJ Bass Academy here. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. I really appreciate you. All right. All right. Thank you very much for tuning in. And I think I'll give just a little analysis of what I was soloing over. Okay, basically we're in G minor for the whole thing. So that's the key of B flat. And on the 5 chord, I was going to the melodic minor scale. So basically playing in the key of B flat. E flat here. G. And that's where I used the melodic minor on the 5 chord. Okay, so the 6th mode. Melodic minor. Dorian. 6, 2, 6, 2. Melodic minor. And that's about it. Okay, so those are the scales. Aeolian mode. Whoops. And then the melodic minor. 2 chord. 6, 2, 6. Melodic minor, G. E flat, Lydian, D Phrygian. Okay, so you got a lot of choices there. All right, if you're getting value out of this video, hit the thumbs up. I'll go over that one more time. So you got the 6th mode. Okay, you could play that for the whole thing. Or you could go to the Dorian on the 4 chord. And then you could play the Phrygian on the D, or as I like to play, the G melodic minor. So you got Aeolian, Dorian, Aeolian, Lydian, melodic minor. All right. Hope you enjoyed this. Into the Mind of Music, live in the studio every Monday night, 7:30. Come on in for your little free bass analysis and loop. Hope you enjoyed this. All right. Peace, love, and music for all. Until next week, tune in to Into the Mind of Music every Monday night at 7:30. And yes, I will be here. Let's see. Okay, I also have a chat going on here, so if anybody would like to check out the chat, they can do so. So I'm looking at the stream and it's super behind. So I hope you guys got a good video. All right. Peace, love, and music for all. Until next time. See you then.